Hello everyone and welcome to Winterhelm Gaming. Today was the day of the first of 3 Twitch live reveals that Bungie will be hosting before the release of The Taken King, and wow, there's a lot of new information. First things first, the character screen in The Taken King will be changing. The subclasses new and old will be getting an overhaul to their look. The Ghost Shell selection has been moved to be more front and center by being in the main character screen. The intellect, discipline, and strength indicators all have an upgraded look, and there is now an artifact slot located under the class item slot. Looking at the new ghost shells, ghosts will now have upgrades like Spirit Bloom Sensor, which will have your ghost detect and mark nearby Spirit Bloom. I also assume that there will be upgrades like this of all varieties for Spin Metal, Helium Coils, and Relic Iron as well. In addition to their new looks, the way intellect, discipline, and strength work will be more obvious in The Taken King with the addition of times that display just how long it will take for your abilities to recharge, effectively removing the guessing game that exists with these stats right now. A new menu that you may have noticed is that there is now a menu that you can tab over to called Quests. On this page you can find all of your active quests as well as your bounties. Quests will display their own icons as well as descriptions and your current step in the quest. Bounties will display like they normally do, however there are now 16 bounty slots. Bounties are trackable, which allows you to view the current status of that bounty whenever you pull up your ghost in game. And any completed bounties can be turned in from the quest menu, which means that you no longer have to travel back to the tower to turn in your bounties for their rewards. A small thing that can be seen is the new icon for armor materials. Before, where you had Hadronic Essence, Plasteel Plating, and Sapphire Wire, you will now have simply armor materials, which features a very cool icon combining all of the 3 class-specific armor materials. This is fantastic if you main something like a hunter and have hundreds of Sapphire Wire, but you need material for your warlock to level up a piece of gear. Now you won't have to hunt for that unique material. Something pretty big that was shown was the addition of terminals for your emblems, shaders, and ships that you have found. The only one they showed in the reveal was the terminal for emblems, which looks like what you can see on the screen. Displayed in this terminal are all of the emblems in the game that are part of their respective category. At the top of the screen there are other tabs which presumably have more emblems for each category of the ones displayed, as well as emblems from other categories and Vanilla Destiny. The emblems that appear to glow are emblems that you have found but do not have currently in your inventory. You can repurchase any of these by simply selecting them from this terminal. All of the emblems that you have not found are displayed faded out. When you hover over these emblems, it will state that you have not yet found the emblem by telling you how to acquire it. An example is the emblem called the Inexorable, which will require the completion of the Striker subclass quest to acquire. While the shader and ship terminals are not shown, I assume that they will work in the same manner. When it comes to factions, you are no longer forced to wear a faction class item in order to gain reputation with said faction. Now you will pledge your allegiance to the faction of your choosing by acquiring a faction badge. Once you have pledged your allegiance to a faction, you can begin to earn reputation with them, however you can only change your pledged faction once per week. We also got to see some new armor abilities when this new Monarchy chest piece was inspected, which showed abilities like Solar Recovery, which increases your recovery after taking solar damage, and Solar Armor, which increases your armor when using a solar subclass. I assume that different pieces of armor will have different abilities all over the elemental scale, so Void and Arc will still be covered. Factions will also allow you to donate materials such as armor materials and Motes of Light in exchange for additional reputation. For those PvP players out there, The Taken King will be adding Crucible quests, which feature objectives like getting kills while 2 or more zones are capped in control. These come in addition to new Crucible bounties, along with a special weekly bounty that will be completed when you complete all 5 of that week's weekly bounties. This special bounty will reward the player with Nightfall tier rewards, so if you're a Crucible player, you now have something to work towards along with the PvE players. Bungie then spoke about legendary marks, which are the new form of currency replacing your Vanguard and Crucible marks. These will cap off at 200, however unlike the way that Crucible and Vanguard marks work right now where you have a weekly cap, these are not capped in such a manner. You can spend all 200 and go right back out and earn 200 more as many times as you like per week. Next, Bungie revealed how they are handling exotic weapons and armor. They are using terminals like the ones shown for emblem shaders and ships to store collections of exotics. All exotics that you have found will be shown with their icon in this terminal, and if you have not found the exotic before, it will display an icon of an exotic engram. Year 2 exotics will also now come with their exotic perk unlocked already from the start. If you have a Year 1 version of the exotic, you will not have to find or buy the Year 2 version like you would now. Instead, you can simply pick up the Year 2 version from these terminals for 125 legendary marks. One of the important things to note when Bungie showed the exotic weapon terminal is that not all Year 1 exotics are coming to Year 2, however some of the Year 1 exotics that are coming over to Year 2 have an updated look to them, such as the Suros regime, which now has a really slick black paint scheme as well as some new perks to fit the Foundry architecture present in the Taken King. An example of this is before, when you upgraded the Suros regime, you would lose fire rate because of the Focus Fire perk. You will now have a choice between Focus Fire or Spinning Up depending on whether you need a fast firing auto rifle or a more precise slower firing auto rifle. Also, if it is true that you do not need to find weapons that you have already found again for them to appear as selectable in the Year 2 exotics menu, Yellowhorn will not be making it over to Year 2. After this, Bungie showed what the new Cryptarch will look like, and from this picture you can see that he will no longer be totally useless when it comes to his inventory. He will now sell legendary engrams in exchange for legendary marks, and these engrams will be no different in terms of what they provide from legendary engrams that you find in the wild. The Gunsmith is getting a pretty large overhaul as well, with the addition of a reputation bar, field test weapons, and arms day packages. You can now increase your reputation with the Gunsmith by killing things with the field test weapons that he provides. These weapons are free of charge and serve as a way for you to gain reputation so that you can get to the point where you can order an Arms Day package. Arms Day packages are specific to the weapon they provide, so if you pick the package for a Suros DIS-43, you will receive a Suros DIS-43 on the next Arms Day, which is every Wednesday. Weapons from the Taken King will have the option to infuse them, which is a system that can be lightly compared to ascending in a small sense. The way infusion works is, let's say that you have a powerful legendary that you found, but it's a Haka weapon, and you don't like Haka weapons. But you do like Suros weapons. You can take your less powerful Suros weapon and infuse it with your more powerful Haka weapon to make it more powerful at the cost of some currencies and the more powerful weapon. This reveal also showed something that we were all hoping for, which is more vault space. Bungie has doubled the vault space to 72, as well as segmented the vault into pages for the separate categories that exist now. There's a page for weapons, armor, and your general items. You can have up to 72 weapons, 72 pieces of armor, and 36 general items. This smaller general items vault is not really a problem because you can dismantle any emblems and shaders that you have in there because they can now be found at their respective terminals in the tower. Do not dismantle them now, wait until the Taken King drops. And, while it's a small thing to touch on, the sword is confirmed. That's going to do it for us here at Winterhelm Gaming. After this outro bit, there will be some pretty awesome pictures of some new weapons and armor as well as some other goodies, so stick around for that if you'd like. In the meantime, however, keep your light safe, Guardians, and we'll see you next time.
Enemy captured Zone C. Zone B secured.